Hey, it's Joe from StayFitAnywhere, and today I'm going to talk to you about how our body's going to break down when we get older. And I'm going to show you how to lube up your hips and back to hopefully keep them nice and limber. For me, as I'm hitting my mid 40s next year, I've got a newborn coming in a couple of months, and I'm currently chasing after a soon to be 4-year-old all the time. No, come here. So, these are all things that are happening in my life, and it is, sometimes it takes a toll on the body. I'm sure as any of you dads like that have had kids later on in life, it takes a bit more energy, and our bodies might not be as smooth as they used to be back in our 20s and 30s, right? So for me, it's all about how do I make sure my body is capable of functioning the way I want it to, so I can continue to support my family and have fun with them, right? Last thing I want is to wake up always feeling achy and sore and being ineffective of what I want to be doing. So for me, it's really important that I keep my body healthy and strong and do multiple different exercises to keep it nice and loose and limber. So one of the things I know for me personally is it's not as easy to do some self-care, and that means to work on myself, because one, I always think there's other things I could be doing that are higher priority, and that's gardening, fixing things around the house, making dinner for the family, working on my business. Of course, all those things are very important, but it doesn't help if I was to fall apart or get sick or get ill, right? Because then I'm not doing any of those things anyways. So I always have to remind myself like that in a way I do come first, because if I'm not healthy and I'm not strong, I can't be there for my family. So one of the things I try to do most is bite-sized workouts. So you might have seen a lot of the things that I've been putting together are small, quick exercise routines that I can do efficiently and effectively. Because one, I'm busy. I usually don't spend an hour at the gym to focus, doing a specific workout. For me, it's all about, okay, how do I fit in many bite-sized movements as I'm working throughout the day or doing different types of chores and errands, right? So it's always about thinking outside the box and making it work into my lifestyle. So if you're a busy dad and you're trying to juggle between family and work and how am I going to do anything for myself, I'm here to show you that it can be done, but you're going to have to commit to it, and you're going to have to look at specific areas of your day where you can quickly do maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes of exercise. So those are really important, and it's going to help you out. So this exercise is called the Hacky Sack. Just like the name says, I don't know if you've ever played the sport or the game of Hacky Sack, where there's a little tiny small bean bag and you're kicking it back from your foot from side to side, doing a whole bunch of fancy tricks. I used to play it on the computer, so that's as good as I got. So one of the things I'm going to show you is how this particular exercise is going to help loosen your hips and for your back. So for the Hacky Sack, stand up straight, all right? Slightly engage your abdominals. You always want to keep your trunk nice and firm. So, and this will require a little bit of balance as you're going through. So all you're doing, standing on one leg, bringing your knee about hip height, and you're going to pretend that there's a little hacky sack there, a little bit of a beanbag, and there you're just going to kick it up, and then pretend it's going to do a little arc over to the other side and kick it back on the other side. So you're doing this little swivel, right, around the hip, going back and forth. So the more you do it, you can control your balance. As you see, my balance isn't the greatest sometimes, but here, do it on the other side, right? You'll find maybe one leg goes out a little bit higher than the other. You can rotate, you can externally rotate a little bit more to the outside. This one I find I have a little pinch in my hip flex, in my psoas, what we call it. So I know that I need to continue working on that because I'm getting stiff. And as I age, and like I've been saying, I'm getting up into my mid 40s, and all the activities I've done in my past, these are coming back to limit my mobility. So I want to keep myself nice and strong for our newborn that'll be here in a couple of months. So making sure I'm keeping everything nice and limber. So again, a little hacky sack, side to side motion, keeping your abdominals engaged and just rotating the leg back and forth. And the other side here, if you want, hold on to something, hold on to a wall, hold on to a stick, whatever you need to do, right? Because what we want to do is make sure we can rotate that hip and get some movement into there. That's the hacky sack. And this exercise is called the side leg swing. I love doing this exercise because it just feels like my hips are getting loose, and with the momentum of my leg and the weight of my leg swinging back and forth, just like those little pendulum balls like that you see on those desks. The ball just kind of goes back and forth, back and forth. That's kind of what I want you to visualize when you're actually doing the side leg swing, right? So the easiest way, find a wall. You find a wall. I like to sometimes stand facing the wall. So all you're doing is facing the wall, having your leg, and just going side to side. When you're doing this, you don't want to be twisting your stationary leg too much. You don't want to be bending all over the place, but you want to make sure that you're not hurting the knee. So if you want, I would say angle your foot out about 45 degrees, and that should help if you feel any kind of pressure onto the knee. So from here, just doing a side leg swing. You're not really forcing it. You're just making sure your leg is swinging back and forth. So this is the Shin Box or windshield wiper exercise. You maybe heard both names. If not, that's what they are. So it's a fantastic exercise to mobilize your hips, hopefully increase range of motion. I also find it probably one of the most difficult for beginners too, especially if you're stuck in the areas of your hip flex or your glute med, so the areas of your butt that help you rotate your legs to the outside. So for beginners, I always say brace with your hands back behind you and doesn't force so much pressure into your hip flexors. And from there, bring your knees up slightly. You're looking at about 45-degree angle on each, and all you're doing is dropping it from side to side. And the better you are at it, the lower your legs can go. So for me, when I'm doing this today, I'm a bit, I guess would be tight and not flexible, but as I'm moving forward, I can feel myself getting a little bit lower from side to side. And if you get better at this, and then bring your arms up so you're not using arms as a brace anymore. So you're basically dropping from side to side.
Dad, we also need to leave for the school bus, or the school bus is going to say we're there.
So you can see, my daughter's telling me we're getting late for the school bus. So this is the Shinbox windshield wiper exercise. So ready to go. Silly Taya. So this exercise is one of my favorite exercises. And why? Because it's so easy to do. All you really need is some sitting apparatus. So a chair, a bench, anything. I used to do this a lot back in the day when I was a software developer and sitting in front of a computer. So this is great to relieve any kind of tension into the lower back, into the glutes. Just very, very efficient. It's also one of my wife's favorite exercises, and a lot of clients love this, especially the ones that work in an office. And for me, who's getting older and older, I don't move around as much as I used to, but I'm going to get back on track with that. But for now, what I want to do is make sure my body is capable of moving. So, very simple. This is called a cross-legged hip stretch. You can hold it for a very long time, but today I'm just gonna do 3 to 5 second intervals as I'm going back and forth. So what you want to do, I would say sit on the edge of your bench or your chair. Right now I'm sitting on a piano bench. So here, 90 degrees, hip width apart. Bring your leg up over the knee. This is your starting position. If you find it too difficult to bring your leg up, extend your other leg forward a bit so the angle's a little bit lower, and then try bringing your leg up. And then do it from this angle. But if you can, bring that leg straight, 90 degrees. Keep your posture straight, your chest up, and from there, all you're literally doing is just leaning forward and bringing your chest forward towards the ground. One thing you don't want to do is bend your back as you're going through doing this. So you want to make sure your back is nice and straight. Pretend pretend you've tied a board to your back and you can't actually round the shoulders. So from there, bend through the hip at the waist and then come forward. I would always say breathe out as you're doing this, so you can, when you're breathing out and then breathing in, you should be able to feel a nice gentle stretch around your butt and the outside. But this will tell you, like kind of where else you might be tight or feeling some discomfort. So any of those areas, it's time to address them. And you go to the other side, same thing, up. So I would always say do, 8 to 10 of these. If you want, you can continue holding it if it feels nice and that's something you want to do. Before, I used to sit there on the computer, and as I'm programming, I would sit in this position and bend forward. So I'd be getting a stretch in while I was working away. So that also helped with me, just sitting sitting in one position for so long. It does become uncomfortable, and besides getting up, sometimes I would just do a seated cross-legged hip stretch as I was working. So something like that you can do too. It's very easy. Like I said, all you need is a chair. You can do it anywhere. It's perfect. So that was a quick, bite-sized hip mobility routine, right? That's going to really help loosen up your hips, loosen up your back, because I know as we age and we're running around with these little tiny people, it just takes a toll on us. And last thing I know you want, or even I want for myself, is to be achy and in pain and not being able to do the things that we want to do. Because as dads, as for me, as a dad, I want to make sure I'm keeping active, and I want to be able to play with them. I want to throw them around, in a good way. And if you like this video, I've got 4 exercises in addition to this that you can get for free by clicking on the link in the description. So down below, click on the link and it'll set you up for those 4 additional exercises to keep your hip and back continue to be mobile, strong, and flexible. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm always putting in new content for bite-sized workouts and different tips to keep you guys nice and strong and healthy. Blah blah. Why do I keep saying those things? I'll have to cut this out. I'm gonna have to cut this out. I'm gonna have to cut this out because I keep on looking at the screen and not the